Welcome to our World News Update for January 20th, 2023. While war is a continued topic regarding Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Iran, along with China and Taiwan, there seems to be many other things rising to the headlines. However, it seems little attention is given to them as a whole. Let me say that I'm not belittling the war situations around the world. Not at all. In fact, I'm quite concerned about them all. As noted in our last World News Update, Russia basically said they're fighting a war with the U.S. through Ukraine. If that's the case, when does that war stop getting fought through Ukraine? Is anyone even thinking about this? How much support does the U.S. have to give Ukraine until Russia says enough is enough and starts aiming directly at the U.S.? As mentioned in our last update, who knows what will become of all this? With everything else going on around the world, I can't help but think of the words of Yeshua. Matthew 24, verse 6, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come." So don't be alarmed. Things are just setting up. When will it all go down? Well, that remains to be seen. But we continue to watch and pray and not be alarmed. But I believe there are other things taking place in the world that should be topics of equal, if not greater concern. Let's discuss a few. First, back in October of 2019, there was a meeting called Event 201. Links regarding this event are provided in the description. This meeting was basically an exercise of what do we do if the world gets hit with a pandemic. A quote from the opening paragraph of the event's website reads as follows: "The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise on October 18, 2019, in New York, New York. The exercise illustrated areas where public-private partnerships will be necessary during the response to a severe pandemic in order to diminish large-scale economic and societal consequences." Ironically enough, by the end of that following March, just 5 months later, close to half the world's population was under some form of lockdown, with over 3 billion people in more than 90 countries or territories asked or ordered to stay at home by their governments. Then, by 2021, their solution for the pandemic was being produced and distributed to people all over the world. But this is old news, so why bring it up? Well, in case you missed it, on October 23rd of 2022, there was another exercise held. This one was titled Catastrophic Contagion. The opening paragraphs of the site reads as follows: "The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, in partnership with the World Health Organization and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, conducted Catastrophic Contagion, a pandemic tabletop exercise at the Grand Challenges annual meeting in Brussels, Belgium, on October 23, 2022. The extraordinary group of participants consisted of 10 current and former health ministers and senior public health officials from Senegal, Rwanda, Nigeria, Angola, Liberia, Singapore, India, Germany, as well as Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The exercise simulated a series of World Health Organization Emergency Health Advisory Board meetings addressing a fictional pandemic set in the near future. Participants grappled with how to respond to an epidemic located in one part of the world that then spread rapidly, becoming a pandemic with a higher fatality rate than COVID-19 and disproportionately affecting children and young people. Participants were challenged to make urgent policy decisions with limited information in the face of uncertainty. Each problem and choice had serious health, economic, and social ramifications. So, the big question is, are we going to see another coincidence in the near future? If we do, and the items covered in this exercise are of any clue of what's coming, it won't be a good situation. In fact, it will be much worse than what we've seen before. Links are provided in the description. Another concern that seems to be flying under the radar for many is the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. Several countries have already begun a central bank digital currency for their state. It's currently in the beta phase right now for the United States. Whether you like it or not, this is what's coming. Too much time, money, and energy has been placed into this for them to just let it drop by the wayside. Plus, with other countries already having it implemented, there's concern if the U.S. or Europe doesn't launch a digital currency, China will set all the standards for them, thus giving China a huge advantage. China even has it where facial recognition is used in making payments. No cash or even credit cards are needed. A friend sent me a short video to show how China's facial recognition technology is being used for their digital currency. I would show it here, but I'm not sure of all the copyrights on it. But it was crazy. They put their face up to the reader, and then their bank account was charged for the purchase at the store and even at soda machines. But don't think facial recognition technology isn't coming to America. Many airports across the country are running beta tests on it now with plans to have it in every airport soon. So, once the beta phase is complete for the central bank digital currency, you need to know they won't sit on it for long. It will come to be. And if the right crisis presents itself, they can speed up the process and present the central bank digital currency to be the new currency in the U.S. much sooner than they planned. Speaking of a right crisis, once again, the United States has hit its debt ceiling. From Reuters.com, we read, the U.S. government hit its $31.4 trillion borrowing limit on Thursday, amid a standoff between the Republican-controlled House of Representatives and President Joe Biden's Democrats on lifting the ceiling, which could lead to a fiscal crisis in a few months. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen informed congressional leaders, including House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, that her department had begun using extraordinary cash management measures that could stave off default until June 5th. The article also reported Yellen warned that the June date was subject to considerable uncertainty due to the challenge of forecasting payments and government revenues months into the future. I respectfully urge Congress to act promptly to protect the full faith and credit of the United States, Yellen told congressional leaders in a letter Thursday. But there was no sign that either Republicans or Biden's Democrats were willing to budge. But let's assume for a moment this situation gets resolved with little or even no ramifications. This isn't our first time around the block with this situation. How many times can we just keep raising the bar of our debt and it not come crashing down on us? I mean, think about it. Who answers their debt problem with going into more debt? It just doesn't make sense. If, and I say if, this isn't resolved, I believe this could easily be used as a catalyst to usher in the central bank digital currency much faster. As with everything, time is always the ultimate test. A big concern that many have is how China uses what's called a social credit system in conjunction with their digital currency. If one is caught breaking the law through the facial recognition technology, the punishment is almost immediate. They have facial recognition cameras everywhere. This is becoming known as SEG, social engineering governance, rewarding what the government deems as good behavior and punishing what the government decides is bad behavior. This can sound good. However, what happens when the government makes laws you disagree with? What then? If you start breaking the laws you disagree with, they immediately start finding your bank account that's based in the central bank digital currency, and you have no say over it. Now, add to this the new AI technology that's just been released a few weeks ago. It's called ChatGPT. It's a revolutionary AI. It's currently trained from spoken and written language around the world. Now, think about that. It's currently trained from spoken and written language around the world. Remember, Yahweh confused the language of man because their motives weren't right. When they were making the Tower of Babel, he said this, Genesis 11:6. If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. And yet, what do we see in this new AI? An intelligence that derives all its current knowledge from spoken and written language around the world. In essence, bringing all the languages back together through one entity. We've provided 2 videos in the description below that we highly recommend you watch. One promotes ChatGPT and the other gives stark warning of it. One is a little over 4 minutes and the other is a little over 6 minutes. Please make the time to watch them when you can. Hear me when I say, this world is changing fast, very fast. I just want us to keep our hearts and eyes open as time continues to unfold before us. As always, we don't know the future, but we know the one who does. So, let's make it a point to pray as we walk through our everyday routines. Make more time to read. Make it a point to invest more time into our relationship with our Heavenly Father like never before. That way, regardless of what lies ahead, we know we're in good company. Keep your hearts humble in Him as we all learn and grow together in His Word. Blessings and shalom.